alabaster mark of the Eternal's congregation. The tribe of Dan, the Danites, by the founder Danao, probably an Egyptian prince or pharaoh, is the first to emigrate, living from Canaan aboard ships. The Italian CEI Bible in Judges 15:7 says, "And Dan, why does it leave strangers on ships? Wherefore, live strangers is to be understood to live abroad." While the New Revised says, "And Dan, why it still stays on its ships." So it becomes clear to us that the tribe was native of a foreign land, so not to be strictly recomprised within the Hebrew family. The descendants of Moses are amongst them. In Palestine, however, the descendants of Aaron settled down. The tribe of Dan, fading permanently from the chronicles of the Middle East, cross Europe until they take possession of Denmark, not the origin of the name Denmark, meaning land of the Danites. From that country, cradle of the Scandinavian culture, the ancient Middle Eastern myths spread, transforming themselves to give life to the Nordic saga. We are in 14,000 before the Common Era, give or take. According to the myth, the foundation of Egypt should be collocated in the Bronze Age, starting with gods reigning on the country. It is curious to notice that Censal's estimates of the various reigns' durations range from 12.3 to 1 for the gods to 4 to 1 for the demigods. However, the historian does not provide any further explanations to these estimates, lacking to attribute a specific calendar year reference. Regarding the conversion ratio between the long and the short chronology, we believe that the first derives from the data the Censal's had access to, while the second must refer to its corrections or conversion, since he had to be aware of a different system of time calculation. It is basically a methodology similar to the one we adopted when dating the history of the patriarchs in previous episodes. Censalus adopts a different conversion ratio, distinguished gods and semigods. We consider this difference sensible, since we found a similar situation facing the chronology of the Sumerian king list. The Hebrew demigod Chimera does not reign over Egypt. However, it deserves to be mentioned in the chronology, as it introduced a moment of government instability, which recalls the narration of the Hebrides, of which it said both in Genesis and in Greek mythology, the episode of the revolt of the centaurs. Virgil talks about it in the Georgics. Thrice, the centaurs tried with every effort to pile Mount Ossa on Mount Pelion and Mount Olympus on Mount Ossa. Thrice Jupiter's bolt dashed apart the up-piled mountains, superimposed in vain. On this mountain, the centaurs had their stay fixed, sometimes with the Olympus, and it formed only one mountain. But Hercules separated them and places the vow of temple among them. Aeschylus tells us that Apis, whose symbol is the sacred bull, after that the earth was filled with snakes due to the dastardly acts of the ancients, with the use of magic freed the country. Husbands of Memphis, daughter of Nile, he built a city by dedicating it to its wife. Manetho lists 30 kings of Memphis for a total of 1,790 years. The estimates he provided are subject of strong criticism from contemporary historians, as they reveal numerous inconsistencies. Document aggregation leads us to believe that the first two kings of Memphis had a human nature. Then followed the sovereigns, pharaohs, called Horus or Oro in ancient times, of the predynastic period in Lower Egypt, as can be seen from the Palermo stone found at Abydos, the sovereigns from Sekka to Scorpio II. There are only scarce and very fragmentary records of this historical period. The Palermo stone suggests an average of 59 years for the monarchs listed in it. The total extension of the predynastic period would seem to cover 1,059 years. The end of the divine rulers comes in the Atlantean phase, reported by Plato from an Egyptian chronicle, and that phase corresponds with Horus Scorpion, the king scorpion, mythical founder of Egypt. Horo meaning high above, was as much an epithet of the sovereigns, considered equal to the sun. Manetho reports of 30 demigods of Memphis, but current official history lacks of 10 documented kings that are to be counted after the period that goes from King Epaphus to Scorpius II. Keep in mind that Memphis is the place in which the pharaoh Narmer or Menes, the unifier of Egypt, would be born. According to Manetho, the average duration of the reign of those last kings would be about 52 years each. We begin to glimpse in this chronology a symbolic pattern of an astronomical nature. Then the spirits of the dead, that is to say the ancestors, go up to the throne. This definition was probably added by the Greek bishop Eusebius of Caesarea, and is therefore disputed by Censalus. They are otherwise called the demigods of Thinis, referring to a city near Abydos. We are in the historical period of the first dynasty, whose founder was Pharaoh Narmer or Menes. The first 15 dynasties are called of the Sotis cycle. Sotis, the goddess Sophodet, is a deity identified with the star Sirius, symbolized by the 5-pointed star. The last dynasty recorded by Manetho, the 15th, is just a symbolic one: 70 kings in 70 days. It follows a power vacuum in conjunction with the invasion of the Ixus, who take control of the country. They are Semitic and Indo-Europeans mixed peoples. The dating of the Egyptian king list presents several issues, which it has not been possible to unravel even with the radiocarbon dating system, given the considerable fluctuation in solar emission over the millennia. The official historiography, despite not having established an equivocal dating, can accept the estimate beginning of the Second Dynasty around 3860 before the Common Era. Such an estimate seemed to be based on the data calculated by Censalus. Therefore, our backdating has been developed starting from that reference year. If you want to know the precise dates and follow all the calculation process, you can find the answer in our book, Dawn of the Gods, The Untold Timeline of Genesis, accompanied by calculations, evidences, and details. Starting from the 15th dynasty, the documents are reliable and mostly complete. Between the 2nd and the 14th dynasty, they are scarce. There are substantially no records available before the 2nd dynasty. According to 2 Enoch 72:31b, this is the list of the first 13 priests: Seth, Enosh, Ruzi, Almelam, Prasidam, Maalalel, Seroch, Arusan, Alim, Enoch, Methuselah, Ner, brother of Noah, Melchizedek. So, the first to rule was Seth. This god supplanted the cult of Ash during the 2nd dynasty. In Genesis 25:4, we read that the sons of Abram and Midian were Ephah, Epher, Enoch, Abidah, Eldah. That the Enoch of Genesis 25:4 is the same of 2 Enoch 72:31a is practically a certainty, which demonstrates the alteration or at least the confusion of the textual body. It is interesting to notice that Abidah, from which the name of the city of Abydos originates, is sister and therefore contemporary of Enoch. In the temple of Abydos, it was said that the head of Osiris had been preserved. If you want to know more, subscribe to the Eternals Congregation channel and stay tuned for news. If you want to investigate the matter further, buy the book Dawn of the Gods, The Untold Timeline of Genesis on Amazon and in bookstores. Read it and discuss of it in your congregation or church. Thank you for listening.